This video is sponsored by Narwal. As I take on more tasks in my personal and work life, saving time has been my focus. If I can pay for a service or buy a tool that could help me save time or get time back, for the most part, I'm in. I definitely have the mindset of time equals money. Since moving to our home, I've been doing my best to add necessary smart home tech accessories to make our lives better. Alexa, turn on living room lamp. One of the first things we bought was a robot vacuum, but we quickly realized that more than vacuuming or sweeping, we actually don't like to mop. I mean, no one probably enjoys doing it. It's just one of those things that you kind of have to do if you want a clean home. Although we love our hardwood floors, the entry area, dining, and kitchen gets pretty dirty from day-to-day use. So I've actually looked into robot vacuums that also mops, but most people are saying it's just basically dragging dirty water on your floor, which is counterproductive. But this one from Narwal, the one we're going to talk about, is a good one. And this is a bold statement, but it's my favorite home tech. This is the Narwal T10. It was a Kickstarter product that had a goal of $30,000, but actually raised over $1.1 million from about 1,900 backers. And unlike others out there, this one is pretty unique. It's a robot mop that vacuums. And for someone who has a home that has very little carpet areas, that makes a big difference. First, let's talk about the setup process. You simply scan the QR code to download the app, then pair the vacuum by turning it on. After pairing, it needs to go back into the base station, and once it has sufficient battery, you can start mapping your space. And it does that by using LiDAR. Smart mapping is pretty much a requirement for me now when it comes to any kind of robot cleaning device, and the Narwal T10 does a good job. The scans were actually pretty accurate. It went around my bed, avoided the nightstand, avoided the shoe rack, the desks in my office, and so on and so forth. It divided the rooms pretty well on its own, but if you want to modify it for whatever reason, you can do that in the app. You can divide or merge rooms, you can set up cleaning strategies, you can select how many passes you wanted to do in a certain space, no-go zones, and more. You can even see the path your robot took while cleaning. Super cool, right? The base station and the robot comes in this white finish. It looks very minimal and modern. You do need some floor space to store it, but it looks pretty good in my opinion. Looking at it, the first thing you'll notice is how much bigger the base station is compared to others. But that is because it washes and dries the mopping pads automatically. Once you open the lid of the base station, you'll see two bins, one in blue for clean water and the other one in a clear neutral color for wastewater, which makes sense because it's actually super satisfying to see the dirty water. And this is where the magic of the Narwal T10 comes in. Let's just say you have it set to mop your floors for the day. It will do its thing, mop around the house, and when it starts to recognize that the pads are dirty, yes, it's smart like that, it will go back to the base station, clean the pads, and go back out and pick up where it left off. Then at the end of the mopping session, it cleans the pads and voila, it also dries it. As you probably assumed by now, this makes the cleaning process super simple. No need to wring a mop or anything like that. Just open the lid, take out the wastewater bin, dump the dirty water, then you're ready for another session. Now let's talk about the mop itself. The mop pads are pretty big. It has this triangular shape and ideally it should help reach corners a little better. It spins at around 6 rotations per second at 4.5 pounds of downward pressure. And I think it cleans our floors pretty well. It's super quiet while it's mopping and you kind of forget that it's on. It kind of just blends in the background, which is good. The good and bad thing about our floors is you don't know when it's dirty. So I just spilled some soy sauce on this portion of the floor, let it dry, and have the Narwal T10 mop it. I had it set to do 2 passes in the living room just in case, but I was surprised that it was able to clean it all during its first pass. Take note that you would need to set your no-go zones before a session starts. You can't just add a no-go zone in the middle of a session, so make sure you do that beforehand so you don't end up having damp carpets. Once I set the no-go zones though, it worked like a charm. It went back to the base station roughly 4 times for each pass. After mopping, you can hear a very silent fan to help dry the pads, I literally have to put my ear next to the base station to hear if it was still going. So after mopping, just leave it alone for a couple hours. We personally just leave it overnight just for good measure. When it's time to vacuum, you do need to switch the mopping pads for the brush. The Narwal T10 has 1800 pascals of suction, and although I don't fully know what that means, our old vacuum had 1500 and we thought it cleaned our floors pretty well. So with the Narwal T10, there's even less reason to touch our handheld vacuum. We're very pleased with this thing. While going through its vacuuming session, it will start to pick up more details about the space, like legs of chairs, coffee table, and whatnot. Unlike other robot vacuums, this one actually cleans your floors strategically. It doesn't just randomly bounce around. It starts by going around the perimeter of the room, then tackles the surface in a very orderly fashion. You can see what it's doing in the app, and if you focus on this section right here, you'll see that it kind of goes in like a snake pattern. After cleaning, you get a report that includes the runtime and size of the space. One thing to take note of is it doesn't self-dump the trash bin. You would have to do that manually, but I don't find that to be a problem. I'm kind of used to doing that already. It's a very simple process though. It takes less than a minute. Just open the lid of the robot to access the bin, dump what's collected in the trash, and then put the bin back in the robot. We have the Narwal T10 scheduled to vacuum twice a week, and we run it as a mop once every other week or so. We find that that's a good balance for our home. It has a 5200 milliamp battery that is claimed to be able to clean 2,150 square feet. We only have 1100 square feet of space to clean, so battery is never an issue. But if you have a bigger home, no worries because it's capable of fast charging, so I think you'll be fine. Home technology has gone a long way and is just going to keep improving. The fact that we have a robot like this that vacuums, mops, and cleans itself is super amazing. This is definitely a step in the right direction. But if I were to give some improvement points, I definitely wish it had a self-cleaning dustbin because that would have made this the ultimate cleaning robot. But as it is, I would go with self-cleaning mop than a self-cleaning vacuum all day long. And one other little thing, I wish that it was able to recognize mats and carpets when mopping so that I don't have to take them out. Like for example, I have this mat in front of my kitchen sink that would be nice if I didn't need to take out. But I get it, you would normally take those things out anyway when you're mopping manually, but I think that would be a nice feature. With all that said, do I recommend the Narwal T10? And the answer is yes, without a doubt. I think it does its job really well. The only time I would maybe second guess recommending it is if you have primarily carpet floors, but that's it. If you're looking for a robot mop that also vacuums, look no further. The Narwal T10 is a perfect solution for that, and just imagine the amount of time that you can save. So if you want to check out the Narwal T10, go ahead and check the links in the description below, and if you made it this far, go ahead and type robot in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you loved it, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.